Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Draft and Die. My name is Em. We are live again. Well, not really live. I'm actually just recording these ones. But we're playing some more Arkham, and we are playing under our Nuzlocke run rules, where our investigators are often doomed to fail, often doomed to death, and occasionally destined for retirement. Speaking of which, it looks like our Harvey Walters is missing from the retired. I'll fix that later, I suppose. But in any case, let's go ahead and talk. Double check that he's not in here. Yep, no. Okay, so on the last run, we defeated Knight of the Zealot, and as we mentioned previously, when we defeat a campaign, we get to pick a new campaign. We're going to be starting with the first campaign of the series, the Dunwich Legacy. I might be playing these all in chronological order. I'm a little concerned about what happens if I get to the Forgotten Age, but I think that it might be fun to try and do them chronologically first, and then maybe try and pick and choose our battles if that goes poorly. But in any case, because we're picking the Dunwich Legacy, that means that we get to pick a bunch of fancy characters. So the 5 new characters from the Dunwich Legacy: Jenny Barnes, Ashcan Pete, Jim Culver, Zoe Samaras, and of course the fabulous Rex Murphy, are all being added to the pile of investigators that we have left available to draft, not including the deceased Roland Banks and the retired Harvey Walters. So we now have 17 different characters. Okay, why does this say Roland Banks? Is there a Roland Banks still in here? It's just a pile of names. Oh, no, there's one extra. Hi. You're dead, bud. Sorry. All right, so yeah, with that, we have our 16 characters, all of which we can potentially play with. Lots and lots of different options, several parallel investigators as well, and we're going to draft from those and then draft our set of investigators. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First things first, we shuffle up like this. Okay, and then Zoe Samaras, Jenny Barnes, and Schizo Tool. All right. I've got a big soft spot for Zoe. I like her a lot. She's a guardian who gets resources, which is just like really, really relevant if you all play a resource character. Jenny Barnes has an extremely solid stat line, gets a bunch of resources, which is always relevant, and is good at most things. Also has, like, I believe some signature guns, which would help her be a guardian if we wanted to play her. I've never really played Jenny Barnes before. She's one of the most popular and well-liked characters. She's also a very reliable sort of stock horse. I feel like maybe playing a rogue. Like, it's hard to say which of these I prefer the most. I'm pretty sure I don't want to play Schizo Tool, because he's got, like, kind of stats, bad will, not great everything else. He's okay at speed, but, like, I mean, Jenny Barnes is just fine too. Like, Jenny Barnes has the extra will. I would say that by and large, like, Jenny Barnes and Zoe definitely interest me more than the Skids. But between the two, Zoe's a decent dedicated monster fighter who's probably going to be a little bit more difficult and hard because she doesn't have the 5 fight that really makes hard characters shine. Double check that I got these from the Dunwich Legacy, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Huh, you know, for some reason I thought Mark Harrigan was the Dunwich Legacy character. I guess he must be like a Carcosa character or something like that. In any case, Zoe Samaras is still really, really cool. I like her a lot. And honestly, I don't think I've had a lot of opportunities to play Zoe. She gets a ton of resources. She's allowed to play a lot of, like, really expensive weapons as a result. I think she's probably going to be the character I go with here. And engaging a lot of enemies all at once is definitely Zoe's whole deal. So, sounds really solid. All right. Zoe has known she was special ever since God spoke to her one night when she was 6 years old, the night that terrible fire took away her parents. He told her that he had chosen her from among all the people of the world to be his agent. She would protect the innocent and punish the wicked. Since then, he comes to her in times of trouble, offering guidance and comfort. Zoe now travels from city to city, taking work as a chef to support herself. When she isn't working, she stalks the night, guided by the Lord's voice. Wherever she finds wickedness, she strikes it down without remorse or hesitation. What a delightfully crazy person. All right, and we've got Roland Banks, Jim Culver, and alternate Daisy Walker. I have no major love for alternate Daisy Walker. There are some advantages to her. She has, like, man, she has 1 will. Boy, that's always exciting, as well as 2 fight and 2 speed. She's a little bit different. She can take Guardian or Mystic cards depending on what you're looking for, which is interesting. There are certain Guardian cards that can really help her out, like you can run like Stick to the Plan or other weird stuff, as I recall. Stick to the Plan upgraded. There's just like some interesting like avenues that you can take, but it requires like a pretty full set of tomes and a pretty full set of a lot of other stuff happening, and like we're not really there yet. I really wouldn't run Daisy unless it was very, very late in the campaign, because like the other Daisy is just so much more appealing, and also she's one of my favorite characters, so I'm generally going to try and pick her last, keep her as like one of the last characters available. I'm just not a fan of this particular alternate. I think the new Agnes is pretty interesting. The Roland one doesn't currently work, so we can't really do them, and the Skids one has potential, but also reminds me a lot of Jenny Barnes, so not really sure how I feel about that. Okay, so our options are Skids O'Toole or Jim Culver. Daisy Walker is a really good investigator, which pairs very well with Zoe. But Jim Culver could potentially be... Well, I would say that Jim Culver can be reordered into a Seeker of Clues. Is that correct? He's got 3 book, which is, you know, better than Skids. Actually, it's the same as Skids. Dedicating Skids as an investigator might not be a bad idea either. 3 book combined with the ability to sort of like pick up clues with Pilfer and things like that, and get a lot of resources. Oh wait, no, he doesn't get a lot of resources. He just spends resources for actions. So if you can get his books up with a bunch of other things, but in order to do that, you probably have to use your ally slot, and that's for Leo DeLuca. I think Jim is probably the most interesting. There are several like rites of seeking available for Jim to get clues, so it's possible I can use him as an investigator. The other thing about Jim is that he treats skull modifiers as a 0, and while that's not that useful in standard, and it's particularly bad in some of the like other situations, it is actually just like a card that makes a lot of your draws very reliable, and makes your tokens significantly better in hard. So I'm inclined to say, yeah, let's try Jim Culver and Zoe Samaras together. That's a Dunwich team if I've ever seen one, and we're set up for Dunwich. That's very exciting. This is a very unusual squad, and I'm pretty excited to see how they draft. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so same rules as before. As you can see, we've added the cards from the Dunwich Legacy. We're currently doing all of them. I could go set by set, get Strange Solution really late, stuff like that, but it's not typically worth it to try and keep track of how many of these different things have been marked. So I think we're just going to go for the whole campaign and just get all of those cards set up and ready to go. In addition, we've got Return to the Dunwich, Return to the Night, because we earned those last time, and all the starter decks, which I consider to be paired with Return to the Night of the Zealot. If I were going to start with Dunwich Legacy, then I would play with the 5 base core characters and the Dunwich Legacy set, which would be a little bit weaker, I think, because the starter decks have got some powerful cards in there. But nonetheless, that would give us some options to maybe play some easier campaigns as opposed to constantly getting stuck at Night of the Zealot. So if we ever have to redo this entire run, because it is an Iron Man run, there are other options to approach. Okay, but yeah, let's go ahead and play Zoe Samaras. Taboo list is current, and everything else is set up. Drafting Myriad adds 3. I don't know if there's any Myriads yet. Not in Dunwich, no. But we can still build our deck. Let's go. Oh, Zoe's got Mystic cards. I forgot that. What does she have? Neutral cards, up to 5 level 0 cards from any other class. Okay. So I'm going to get some interesting offers here, aren't I? Deduction's pretty good. Like, we could definitely take it here. Forbidden Knowledge is kind of interesting as well. It gives us Horror, which I think is just not very good for a Guardian. I think we have to take Deduction here. So, like, if we're up against, like, a 3 test, we bring our book to 1 more. We might get 1 extra off of Greet Wagner, because Greet is a very expensive and very reliable ally, and we'll probably be upgrading her. So if that's the case, then like we'll have like a 4 investigating in certain 1 trad locations. We can pick up 1 extra clue there, or you know, we can just contribute some like perceptions or something and help Jim out with the clue gathering. That seems really useful. I'd be very much into that. Let's grab that deduction. So strong level 0 to be putting on Zoe. Also a fairly poor way to get started. Okay, hyper awareness gives us books for resources. It also gives us speed for resources, so it just allows us to pass all of the tests that we can't normally pass. That's kind of tempting, right? It's an expensive card, though, and I actually think these cards tend to really damage your action economy. I like hyper awareness, okay, but I feel like it sometimes hurts you more than it helps you. I'll take the unexpected courage here. That's just always going to be strong. Ooh, Rabbit's Foot. After you fail a skill test, draw a card. I think I'd take that in the amulet slot. Zoe can also get, like, will tests and stuff here. Grit Your Teeth is not something we want. Rabbit's Foot is much better than Grit Your Teeth. So yeah, we can take that for the amulet slot. That's fine. Okay, Fine Clothes and Magnifying Glass. So I have to think a little bit about what we can do with Fine Clothes in Dunwich Legacy. I feel like parlay actions are not nearly as common in Dunwich Legacy here. They're very good in Path to Carcosa. There's going to be parlays in like encounters every now and then in every single one of them. This also gives us some interesting soak, which is cool. What else have we got? We got Take Heart, which is if you fail, you get 2 cards and 2 resources. So it's an action for 2 cards and 2 resources, but you do risk running afoul of the token bag, which can be an issue. I think it's nonetheless a pretty strong card for an investigator. And Magnifying Glass, which fills Zoe's hand slots, but it is a magnifying glass. Magnifying Glass is really powerful. It's fast. It gives you a book for investigations, which is really important for the deduction. And if we're going to help with clue gathering, I think we want to stack that deduction on top of that magnifying glass. I really like this Take Heart too, but yeah, we'll take it. We're just not getting offered Guardian cards until we've pulled our 5. Okay, Feed the Mind, Rose of Endless Night is for spells. Live and Learn. Oh, that's actually a great card. It's basically a lucky, except you play it as an event. That's really, really strong. Okay, clean them out. That's really, really good. Rite of Seeking. So that's interesting because it gives Zoe the ability to basically investigate using Will for 4, which is certainly not bad. We wouldn't really be able to commit the books, but we would still be able to get a lot of extra clues. I think I want to clean them out more because that's just a standard resource gathering card for her. We also have William T. Malison. Draw an encounter card. Exhaust William T. Malison, place one of your clues on that location, cancel the drawing of that card, and shuffle it back into the encounter deck. Then draw a new card from the top of the encounter deck. Interesting. That's actually much more powerful than it seems. Being able to like ditch a Ancient Evils or something like that is very good. I think you can also like... There is an encounter card in this set. The problem is that it takes up our ally slot, right? If we can get Charisma in a draft, if I can be that lucky, then we're in really, really good shape because like Dunwich Charisma is just stupid, stupid good. But there's so many allies in this format and they do a lot of different things. William T. Malison is very good. He's 2 soak and 2 health for 1. And he gives you that really interesting ability. That's such an interesting choice for Zoe. I think like low resource cards aren't as important for us. But I am excited by the idea of basically pulling... This allows us to pull enemies that we wouldn't otherwise be able to pull, which gets us resources. This also allows us to dodge the scariest card in Dunwich, which I know Dunwich has a card that is basically something along the lines of when your deck is empty, you just die. You take 10 damage. And William T. Malison gives us a ton of soak for 1, which is just ridiculous. Takes attacks of opportunities for us, makes sure that we don't have any horror issues, and he costs 1. I mean, I think we just take him. Okay, Teamwork. Trade allies and assets. That's really cool. Could be really strong in this particular format. Other options include Boxing Gloves. Boxing Gloves versus 45 automatic. This is a turning point. With Boxing Gloves, we get access to all of Nathaniel's actions, which includes stuff like Get Over Here, that like automatically engages enemies. We're going to be more likely to have Taunt, which is a spirit event and is really, really strong. Are we playing Zoe as a boxer? The thing about the giving her the boxing gloves, though, is that she can't deal extra damage the way that Nathaniel can. And that is one of the things that really makes boxing gloves strong for Nathaniel, is that he can just, like, he can blow people out of the water with those gloves. And also, Nathaniel has ways to draw the boxing gloves. He has his brother, Randall Cho, who will just automatically get him the boxing gloves. Dunwich does have a card that allows us to, like, search the top 9, and it's like a 1 experience upgrade, but I feel like guns are probably going to be better, particularly because we have the magnifying glass, and we're just going to want the hand slots. We'll take the 45. Bandolier. So here's an interesting one. Guts is very strong. It's just always good to be able to pass will tests. Bandolier is a good use of Zoe Samaris's resources, because she's going to be able to play stuff a lot more often. And this will allow her to hold like the 45 and the magnifying glass, so we have like this nice synergy. The synergy alone kind of makes me want to take it. I think I'm inclined to go ahead and grab it, but honestly, Monster Slayer and Guts are both also very strong, so this is a tough one. I think I'll take the Bandolier. Okay, there's Greet. We take Greet. Greet's an expensive ally, but she's a really, really good one. If it bleeds. Heals you like 1 horror, sometimes 2. Very occasionally 3. It's okay. Painkillers is not really any better, though. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take the if it bleeds. Okay, there's a boxing gloves. I mean, some days we just might have a boxing gloves. We have a bandolier now, so we can actually boxing gloves bandolier and still hold a magnifying glass. And leadership is what? A question mark, and an additional will. Helps Jim pass will tests, but Jim's already passing will tests. Well, actually, it really helps Jim with Rite of Seeking, because it's like an additional 3 on Rite of Seeking. I think boxing gloves is fine here. Clean them out, spirit, tactic, prepared for the worst. That's the card. Wow, these are all very good. I think prepared for the worst is just stupid good. Guardians need guns, and even if it takes an extra action to get them, like, we just want those. Another boxing gloves. Flesh ward's okay. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a ritual, so it uses up our slots, and it actually gives us like damage cancellation, which is really cool. Taunt. This is a classic Zoe card. We have boxing gloves now. Oh, Taunt is not a spirit. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping it would be. 45 automatic is still really strong. We definitely want to get that if we can, but yeah, I guess I take the Taunt here. Another prepared for the worst and a 1-2 punch. A 1-2 punch is a spirit for boxing gloves, so we definitely take that, and it's also just a really strong spirit. Insight, Science, Emergency Aid. That one's okay. It's more of a Mark Harrigan card. Evidence, discovers clues, really, really good. Glory, draw cards, really, really good. I can spend resources to draw cards as Zoe. I feel pretty comfy with that. I think Evidence is also just like any type of clue gain is really important. We'll take the Glory here because the boxing gloves are pretty important, and that kind of card draw is going to be really useful. What if I'm crazy? Kukri. That's a really reliable way to hit somebody. You have to spend an additional action for the extra damage, but you're basically guaranteed to get it. It's fine. It's nothing special. I'd probably say dodge is more important since we're engaging a lot of enemies, but kind of interesting. Second Bandolier. Yeah, let's just boxing gloves and 45 automatic. Let's do it. Okay, Taunt again. Absolutely. Vicious Blow. Critical. Dynamite Blast. Good use of all those resources. Counterpunch is really cool too. And Beat Cop gives us extra fight. We're already at 21 out of 30 cards. I think I need the Dynamite Blast because it's just like a very powerful card for Zoe, but that's an interesting one. Second Dynamite Blast and an Evidence. Zoe gets a lot of resources. We want the Evidence. Guaranteed Clues are just too important. Unexpected Courage is really strong. Evidence is really strong. I feel like I'm more concerned with like action economy right now than other things, but I'm also okay with that. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab the Evidence here. Dynamite Blast, Emergency Aid, Smoking Pipe. Smoking Pipe is actually a really strong card. It heals horror, which is just very important for a character like this. I think Dynamite Blast is really fun, though. 45 automatic? Yep, we've got 2 Bandoliers, right? Yep, let's do it. Guns and punches. Counterpunch, great. Safeguard, absolutely critical. Really, really strong card. That Prepared for the Worst is really nice, too. And then we got Overpower, which is just always a key Zoe card. I don't think I got enough skills, actually. I feel like I underdid that. But, you know, yeah, we got 1 deduction, 1 overpower, 1 expert courage, and 1 vicious blow. The 1 vicious blow in particular really hurts, but let's take the stand together, and I guess we're just gonna have a lot of guns. What's Zoe's Cross do again? Spend a resource to deal damage to an enemy. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, we love it. Smite the Wicked. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded, and you have to go kill that enemy. Okay, we can do that. And then our random basic weakness, Silver Twilight Acolyte. How appropriate? No, Zoe's not a Silver Twilight. Never mind. I'm thinking of Diana Stanley. Okay, but this does give Zoe something to fight, which is awesome, and it's a 3 health option, which I guess we're okay with, because if we have Zoe's Cross out, then who cares, right? Zoe's Cross isn't a weapon, it's just an item? Okay. But still, that's a pretty good deck. Okay, export. All right, Jim Culver, here we go. Starting strong, Jim. So we got Fire Axe. This card basically just says if you're empty your resources, you gotta do +2 damage, and it also, you spend resources to get +2 for the skill test. This is a super reliable way to kill enemies. It's really good. We want it. I think that's basically all there is. Jim has 3 fight. We can definitely use this. Sneak attack, Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter uses what? Books in place of fight or speed? Jim doesn't really need to do that much. Taking Horror to heal damage is okay. I think Sneak Attack is kind of interesting, but we're not really evading, are we? Mind Over Matter is really meh. I think Painkiller's here. Could help. Flesh Ward's still available. Rise to the Occasion, kind of good. All of these are pretty bad. Rise to the Occasion allows us to, like... allows us to pass tests that we shouldn't be taking. But it could allow us to pass, in particular, I think, some very difficult speed tests. I would be inclined to say that this is an okay option. Voice of Ra, for each skull you reveal, gain 2 resources. Newspaper, really strong, the upgraded version, but the base version is also fine. If you don't have clues, you get 5 book while investigating, which seems pretty solid for taking some of the burden off Rite of Seeking. Scrying Mirror, Grimm's Fairy Tales, and Smoking Pipe, these are all very bad. Scrying Mirror allows us to reveal chaos tokens ahead of time, but doesn't allow us to reveal skulls when we need to. I don't know. Grimm's Fairy Tales is kind of okay, but I'd probably rather have Smoking Pipe. Shriveling. Good. That's our first big damage option for Jim. We still need to get Will, which I think higher education will help with, although emergency cash is also very important for resources. Seeking Answers is fine. We can investigate some pretty tough locations, but I think higher education is the better card here. Baseball Bat. Doesn't prevent the skulls from being bad. Prepared for the Worst allows us to grab Fire Axe, which is kind of cute. But it only works if we have a lot of weapons. And Sneak Attack is pretty meh. Or Jim really using up his 5. What do we got? Shriveling, Newspaper, Fire Axe, Rise to the Occasion. Once we get prepared for the worst, that's it for the stuff that we're grabbing. Sneak Attack is fine here. It's just expensive. I think we can take it. I don't know. We don't really evade things very often, so it's tough. But it could be useful, I guess, on the train or in a couple of other places. Astral Travel, more stuff that cares about skulls, which Jim just can't really do. Arcane Studies, Will and Books, it's fine. It's no higher education for sure. But it is a little more consistent. What about Kukri? Jim's kind of fighting with, like, actual weapons right now. If only I'd taken the, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Clarity of Mind, Heal Horror, okay. Yeah, man, I'm just getting really bad cards here. I guess we just take another Arcane Studies? Okay, Emergency Cash. Now we finally got some resources to go with all those weird bad cards. Fine Clothes is still really, really good. We'll have to do some parlay tests. Could be strong enough, and it gives you a little bit of damage and horror soak. Defiance, meh. Rite of Seeking is pretty cool. Holy Rosary is pretty cool. Both of these are really, really important for Jim. We need the will most of all because like actually getting our will up to 5 is very important for passing our Shrivelings and our Rite of Seekings, but I also think we actually just need to be making those tests, so Rite of Seeking seems correct. Rite of Seeking number 2, yep, that's great. Shriveling number 2, and Ward of Protection. Oof, both very powerful. Probably got to go with the Shriveling. Drawn to the Flame. It's an encounter card for 2 clues. I think we can take that. Clarity, Scrying, and look at top 4, reveal a token. Ugh. These are all bad. Scrying Mirror is better than I'm giving it credit for, I think, but it's not amazing. Clairvoyance, another Investigate. We really wanted Jim to be the investigator here, so that makes sense. Crystal Pendulum. There, we got a will. Okay, very happy with that. Let's do it. Crystal Pendulum number 2. I really want that emergency cache, though. Emergency cache doesn't commit for a will, but we do need resources, so probably we take the emergency cache, yeah. Oh, there it is, Crystal Pendulum again. Fearless is also okay here, but I think Crystal Pendulum is going to be more important. We have a fine close already, right? Yeah. Ineffable Truth is Evade, which allows us to use a couple of interesting tricks. Could be very useful. We don't usually use this card, but I wouldn't say no to it here. Forbidden Knowledge. Take a horror, remove a secret as a resource. Moonlight Ritual, remove Doom from a card you control. Oh, that's interesting. Moonlight Ritual's like shilling for like an Arcane Initiate, right? We have a lot of spells, so we could take this early and just try to do like Arcane Initiate on like turn 1 combined with Moonlight Ritual to draw a bunch of spells. Forbidden Knowledge gives us a bunch of resources, but we have to take a bunch of horror to do it. How am I healing horror right now? I'm not, I don't think. Yeah, Smoking Pipe, taking damage to heal horror. I think overall I'm probably happier with Moonlight Ritual than I am with Forbidden Knowledge, even though resources are really useful. I don't know, you can get like 3 resources for 3 horror. Ugh. Yeah, no, Moonlight Ritual. Delve too deep. It's better in 2-player than it is in other formats. The lower amount of creatures you have, the better off you are. But it commits for nothing, and it makes your deck actively worse. I think Clairvoyance here is probably correct, but boy, this is getting rough. Oh, hey, Alyssa Graham. Gives us books. Look at the top card of the encounter deck to exhaust her. Add Doom to Alyssa to place a look deck card on the bottom of the deck. Cool. Yeah. That's weird. She does soak 3 and she does boost your books, which is important for investigation. Dexterity and Overpower, both pretty unimportant. I guess Overpower helps with Fire Axe, which I don't know. Under what circumstances do we take Alyssa? We have some resources. We do have the ability to remove Doom from Alyssa, which is cool. So we can at least use her once every time the Mythos flips. And 1 additional time. That seems like it could be useful. Sure, we'll do that. Unexpected Courage, Hypnotic Gaze. Unexpected Courage, absolutely. Hypnotic Gaze is neat, but yeah, it's pretty random and we don't have a lot of ways to currently do anything about it. Another Moonlight Ritual. I think Voice of Ra is correct here. It's not as bad as it seems. Ritual Candles, that's a Jim Culver staple. Love that card. Alyssa Graham or Overpower? I already have an Alyssa Graham, we'll take the Overpower. Voice of Ra number 2, Fearless is a will, and Voice of Ra is also a will, but he doesn't heal a horror, instead it gains its resources. Moonlight Ritual's not really happening here, so yeah, Voice of Ra number 2. Alright, well we got 2 Voice of Ra's, 2 emergency caches, and a stand together. I would not say that Jim's deck turned out incredibly strong. He certainly can't fight a lot of monsters. He does have some Shrivelings, which is pretty cool, and he's got a lot of like horror seeking, which is neat. I think this deck's going to be built in the upgrades. There's a couple of bad cards that we really need to replace. He's currently using a lot of weapons, which is unusual, and he doesn't have a lot of good skills. So there's a lot of stuff that like might need to get fixed with Jim's deck. In particular, Painkiller Smoking Pipe is just like, maybe they'll be the all-stars, but I'm guessing they're not going to be incredible. But that does wrap up the drafting portion of the setup. And with that, we can build our 2 decks. Oh, wait. We should draw our random basic weakness. It's Paranoia. And right after I Voice of Rod and Emergency Cached. That's tough. Alright, we'll just have to make a lot of effort to spend our stuff. Alright, you know what that siren means? It means it's time to end the episode. Hope you enjoyed, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening. Cheers.